I'm Steve Bunin with you. The reality of the economic impact of coronavirus coming into clearer focus today. The U.S. Labor Department releasing 3.8 more million Americans filing for unemployment last week. More than 30 million people have now filed for unemployment in the month and a half of the pandemic here in Washington state. The Employment Security Department is working through an unexpected 1 million claims this week alone. King 5's Callie Greenberg has more.
A report released on Wednesday by Wallet Hub looked at the growth of unemployment in cities due to coronavirus, and the city of Seattle ranks #1, about 106% growth between January and March. Now, the state's Employment Security Department says they are working to simplify the unemployment process. They understand people are frustrated, but they hope they realize what we're going through right now is something they really couldn't have planned for.
Overall, a lot of people are learning a lot about unemployment insurance through this crisis who had never planned or intended to learn about it before.
The Employment Security Department says it plans to receive 1 million unemployment claims this week. People can send more than one claim, so that doesn't mean 1 million people are out of work. But Commissioner Susie Levine expects to see sizable unemployment growth in April compared to 5.1% in March.
During the recession in 2008-2009, we had an enormous increase, but we've already so far dwarfed that.
In 2009, unemployment hit 9.2% in Washington, but that was over time, unlike what we're seeing right now, where it's all happening at once.
Planning and preparing for maybe 2 times the volume, 3 times the volume, that's what we're for, is how you address economic shocks. 10 times the volume, 12 times the volume, that is above and beyond what generally planned for.
She says the department is working around the clock. So far, it's distributed more than $1.5 billion. Still, the call center is overflowing with demand, and hundreds of thousands visit the website every day, as many work to navigate unemployment for the first time.
The flip side of that is that people are staying home, staying healthy, and thereby keeping more people alive.
And now that April is wrapping up, the department will look at what % of the state is actually unemployed. You can then compare it to numbers on a national level or what we've seen in the past. But moving forward, what the state Employment Security Department is saying that people should begin to inform themselves on what they need to do to get back to work. In fact, the commissioner put out a note that said they could face unprecedented complexities when it comes to getting back to work. And right now, if you're at home, now's the time to start figuring out how you can get back into the office. In Seattle, Callie Greenberg, King 5 News.
Thank you, Callie. And with record unemployment here in our state, so too is the number of people suffering from food insecurity rising. That's where you are worried about where your very next meal will come from. That need has nearly doubled during this pandemic.
We're needing to provide about $6 million of food a week. That's just food per week to be able to meet this demand.
And that's just striking. That is Derek Sandison, the director of our state's agriculture department. He says food banks and pantries are struggling to meet the demand of how many people need food. You got restaurants closed, and donations, they get a lot of them from leftovers that they haven't used at restaurants, have dropped 70%. 70%. There's a new food relief fund that has raised $2 million since it launched earlier this month, but the state estimates another $11 million is needed. So coming up at 12:30, we're going to go one-on-one with the CEO of Northwest Harvest about the need, the help that's pouring in, and how you can help as well. 12:03, as expected, the governor announcing yesterday he will extend the stay-home order beyond Monday when it was going to expire. King 5's Kira Elfallen has the latest.
The governor did not give a specific date, but he did say we should learn more details about that tomorrow, so we will have to wait until then. But the good news is Washington state is improving when it comes to the overall data. The governor just says we're not quite there yet. So in Washington state, the number of deaths and infections are going down, but the governor says the state still does not have enough tests or the ability to trace the people coronavirus patients have been in contact with. That's why he's saying the time to reopen the state is just not here yet.
If we stop our efforts today, we're going to see a lot more people die in the state of Washington in not too distant future.
The governor says as far as the data goes, there's no magical number he's waiting for to make a decision. Our state has the capacity to do more than 22,000 tests a day, but materials like swabs and the testing medium itself are limited. If you would like to see those actual numbers, I have shared a web story on my Facebook page. All you have to do is search for me by looking for Kiera Alfalin TV. So come May 5th, we will be able to get outside, do things like fishing, hiking, golfing, hunting, but there will still be some restrictions on those activities, and social distancing is still going to be a must. From Seattle, I'm Kiera Alfalin, King 5 News.
Governor Inslee also announced some non-urgent medical procedures will be allowed starting again on Monday. Restrictions on elective medical and dental procedures started back on March 19th unless waiting caused more harm to the patient. The governor says it's up to the healthcare provider to define harm and to consider how someone's illness or injury is causing them pain or dysfunction in their daily life. For the entire stay-home order to be lifted in Washington, the governor wants coronavirus testing to be ramped up about 5 times the amount that we're seeing today. That will be a tough goal to reach. And as Jake Wittenberg found out, it is prompting other local labs to help.
Tracking COVID-19 and finding a vaccine, it all comes down to testing. Governor Inslee has said his goal is to see Washington performing 20,000 to 30,000 tests per day statewide in order to lift most of the physical social distancing measures. Right now, the state is seeing around 6,000 tests per day.
The government has said repeatedly, anybody that wants to get tested should be tested. But the fact on the ground is that's not what's happening.
Paul Song is trying to help. He's CEO of a joint partnership between Anissa Spine and Pain Care and Atlas Genomics, now offering the first drive-up testing site for anyone, regardless if you're showing symptoms. Schedule a $99 appointment online at one of 4 sites like this in Renton and get a COVID-19 test without leaving your car.
We've only been open 2 weeks and we've already tested hundreds of people.
The tests are fully certified. His company was already set up to test and handle other diseases. Pivoting the business was relatively easy. We wanted to try it ourselves.
Good, how are you doing?
The test involves swabbing the inside of my nose. They told me to make it uncomfortable, but not painful.
Okay, make sure it doesn't touch anything though.
Okay.
Many of them are just companies who come to us and said, hey, can you come and test, all of our employees?
That includes senior living homes like Bellwood Assisted Living in Issaquah. Bellwood had an elderly resident test positive for the virus, and residents have been quarantined for weeks.
You're going to switch it around 4 times?
Atlas Genomics is being paid to test all staff members and residents, even if they're not showing symptoms.
We've had to reduce our engagement with them, engaging with life. By testing, it gives us an opportunity to create a little bit more activity and engagement.
The FDA has a list of several approved testing methods, including these nose swabs, finger pricks, blood samples, and more, all in an effort to try and flatten the curve.
We were just looking at what could we do to be a part of the solution.